Living on a boat, I feel very close to the elements and I can't help but be affected by them, so I thought it'd be fun to try and capture the essence of each element in a button-eyed art doll. This week I'm making a hanging beaded doll in the form of a Sylph or air spirit. If you just found me, by the way, my name's Jo. I'm a full-time artist based on a narrowboat in Wales. I want this one to look kind of like light reflecting off clouds in a sunny sky, so I've gone for a sky blue quilting cotton for the base fabric. I'm going to string the head, body and hanging ribbon together with a button joint on a single thread. So the thread goes from a button on the back of the torso, up through the head and neck, then through the ribbon to another button and all the way back down again. I'm using Gutterman top stitch thread, so I know it's going to hold everything together and it's not going to snap. This creates a nice strong joint that's still quite flexible, so she'll hang freely without looking stiff. I'm using a deep blue coloured pencil to shade around where the eye buttons will be. This is a Chromaflow pencil from Derwent, which is a very soft, high pigment pencil that works really well on fabric. If you use a blending pencil to work it into the fabric, you can get a really lovely dark smudgy effect. I'll leave some links to the pencils and some of the other materials I use in the description. I've given the shading a couple of coats of fixative spray. That's been drying while I've had lunch, so now I can give her some button eyes. Again, I'm using top stitch thread and stitching right through from the back of the head, so the buttons sit nice and snug to the face in the centre of the shaded area. So what we'll end up with is a soft band of dark blue around the edges of the button eyes that gives the impression of a hollow and creates a nice contrast against the bright metal buttons. I wanted to keep the face quite light and airy, so I've used a grey fine liner for the line detail. I'm using the same blue pencil I used around the eyes to add a bit of shading to the mouth. I don't want to add too much detail, I think that's all she needs. I decided on some white lace for the dress, so it looks a bit like fluffy white clouds against the blue. For the bodice, I've made a loose tube of lace and I'm just gathering it up around the top and bottom and stitching it to the doll. Then I'll make a full lace skirt separately using pretty much the same method. It's simple, but things don't always need to be complicated. I might find a bit of ribbon or something to fix around the waist just to finish it off. If you're enjoying this video, by the way, don't forget to hit the like button and let me know. You can also subscribe if you like, so you don't miss the next one. I've picked out some white frosted glass beads and some lavender blue faux pearls for the arms and legs, with some little antique silver effect spacers and some iridescent glass drop beads for the ends. Glass beads have a nice weight to them, so they'll help the doll to hang better. They also look quite pretty with the light shining through them. I don't recommend hanging beaded dolls directly in a window, especially if you live somewhere that gets a lot of sun. Fabrics can fade and start to look a little bit lackluster if they're hung in direct sunlight year after year, but diffused light should be fine. I'm still using up scraps of discontinued acrylic boucle yarn for the hair. I've had this one for years and there's not much left now. It'll be quite sad when it's gone. These colours are so pretty. It's quite shiny, so the combination of blues, pinks and greens looks almost iridescent, like reflections on the surface of a soap bubble. As usual, I'm felting it in with a clover pen style tool and some 38 gauge felting needles. Using 3 needles together makes felting much faster, especially on larger areas, but for a tiny doll like this, sometimes you need either 1 or 2 needles to work around details like stitches and seams. I tend to keep a couple of felting tools handy, one with 3 needles in it and another one with 2 needles, then I can easily switch between them whenever I need to. Again, links to these will be in the description. I don't want to waste any of this yarn, so when I get around halfway, I start pulling out the loose fibres, then I can use those to make the next row. This little iridescent frosted glass shell bead makes a perfect finishing touch for the hair. It's a little bit fiddly, but a couple of stitches should be enough to hold it in place. I've named this little one Sora. If you've enjoyed watching this little Sylph take shape, I think you'll love the fiery themed beaded doll I made last summer. Go watch that one now and I'll see you next time. Bye.